My name is Leela Monroe. I am 28 years old and I live in Shady Grove, a small town that prides itself on community spirit but also has its fair share of problems. I live with my boyfriend, who, despite being charming and easygoing, is not exactly a tech wizard. Our home was supposed to be our safe haven, a cozy little place where we could enjoy our evenings and relax after long days at work. However, the tranquility of our life together was disrupted by a problem that started small but grew bigger: the slow and flaky internet connection we had. One day, out of sheer curiosity and desperation, I decided to dive into the settings of our Wi-Fi router to see what was going on. As I explored, I noticed something alarming. There were way more devices connected to our network than I expected. I disconnected everything, just leaving my phone connected, yet there were still 7 devices that remained stubbornly online. Frustrated, I decided it was time to take action, so I changed the password. That was supposed to solve my problem, or so I thought. The very next day, 2 of my neighbor's children came knocking on our door. They were innocent enough, asking if they could connect to my internet to send a message to their mother because they were locked out of their house. I told them politely that our internet was not working at that moment. As soon as they left, I sent a message to my boyfriend, letting him know what happened. It was then he casually revealed that he had given those kids the password before, mainly because he felt guilty saying no. I was astounded. Did he truly not understand the importance of securing our own home network? Time passed, and it seemed that the issues with our internet were far from over. About a month ago, we had a technician come to fix the router as it had become practically unusable. When the engineer reset the hub, it also meant resetting the password. In my haste, I did not think to change the default password again, and my brain went into autopilot mode, thinking everything was fine now that the internet was back up to speed. That was my second mistake. Things took a turn for the worse about 2 weeks ago when the neighbor's kids started blasting their television right next to our shared wall during bedtime. It was as if they were determined to keep my 4-year-old awake, and it was exasperating. Every evening, starting around 7:30, their TV blared on until midnight, drowning out our attempts to create a peaceful environment. Last night, as I struggled to get my kid to sleep, a light bulb went off in my mind. What if they were using our internet again? I turned off the router, and sure enough, within minutes, their TV fell silent. I clicked it back on, and not surprisingly, it roared back to life. Fed up, I took matters into my own hands. Rather than just changing the password again, I changed everything. I created a guest network while keeping our main network secure with a brand new name and password. The guest network had the old name and password, but was drastically limited in speed. It became a game. I could see the devices connected, so I began to periodically ban random devices from the guest network and then allow them back on an hour later so that their Wi-Fi connection would be unbearably slow. It was a small satisfaction, but it felt good to finally take control of the situation. I imagined the chaos my actions would create when the neighbor's kids returned home from school. I could see it in my mind, their initial excitement at being able to connect to the network all but disappearing as they felt the frustration of a painfully slow connection. As I sat there and watched, I could hardly conceal the grins spreading across my face. The thought of it gave me a rush of power I had never felt before. I felt like I was finally getting back at them in a way that wouldn't directly affect my relationship with them or put me in a confrontational situation. Every day that passed, I continued this little game with the neighbor's kids, who were completely oblivious to the fact I was pulling the strings behind the scenes. They would come knocking occasionally, always asking for the password, but I remained steadfast, telling them it was not working. Each time their frustrated voices echoed through the wall, I could not help but chuckle to myself. I had successfully turned the tables on them. Finally, one afternoon, as I sat at my dining room table, reveling in the success of my devious plan, I heard a loud knock at the door. It was my neighbors, their faces twisted in irritation. One of the parents exploded, demanding to know why their kids could not get onto the internet. I could feel my heart racing, but rather than cower, I stood my ground. With a firm voice, I explained that I had changed the password for security reasons and that we could not have them tapping into our internet without permission. To my surprise, the confrontation ended with a mix of outrage and grudging respect on their part. I could see they realized they pushed too far, and to my delight, they left with their heads hanging. It felt good to stand up for myself, and I continued to enjoy my new normal, my internet speed blazing, and my home peaceful again. This incident made me realize a vital truth. Standing up for my space was not just a necessity, but a powerful right. I transformed not only our internet situation, but learned more about my own strength in advocating for what is right. In the end, my small act of defiance against the freeloaders became a broader lesson that resonated within me. Life didn't have to be about being a victim of circumstance. Sometimes, it is about taking decisive action, even if it begins with something as simple as a Wi-Fi password. With a smile on my face, I settled into my newly fortified home, ready to tackle what came next.